Yaniv, thank you very much for joining me on the show. You have the name of Dr. Persuasion. You've got to describe that. I mean, I've never met a Dr. Persuasion. Let's
Okay,
go there
great.
first.
Great. Thank you, David, very much for for hosting me. I heard many chapters in your podcast and I enjoyed it, so it's a great privilege to be here. So I'm an actual doctor. I'm 47 years old. I actually have a PhD, and I'm also a lawyer, an economist, and realtor, and a few other degrees. So I wrote my PhD on how to in law how to persuade judges during the digital era. And I've been a consultant and lecturer and speaker for the last 21 years on how to improve your marketing abilities, sales abilities, public speaking abilities. So when I started writing my PhD, I decided that I would brand myself again. It was 2010 as Dr. Persuasion because like a superhero, I saw a movie that there was a character, a superhero, Dr. Manhattan. He was an actual doctor, a chemist, and he had a function problem in the lab, and he became a superhero. So I saw the movie and I saw Dr. Manhattan, and then I decided I would call myself Dr. Persuasion. The same day I bought the URL of drpersuasion.com to have my own website in English. And from that day on, I'm Dr. Persuasion. This is my brand name. And it's, many people, they don't know Dr. Yaniv Zaid. They heard about Dr. Persuasion. So it's a kind of, a combination of branding and a game and marketing and everything, and especially because I am actual doctor, so this emphasize it.
But it's very interesting to me because as you went through your list of educational accomplishments and other accomplishments, I mean, you're obviously very sharp. And somebody who has that track, typically of PhD, lawyer, etc., doesn't typically go into sales or sales training. And you mentioned that you went that route to teach people how to sell a judge.
Yeah,
Is there more to that? Was there a certain case that
yeah,
happened where you were like, oh, this guy blew that? I mean, he should have convinced the
yeah.
judge a
So
different way.
so so first of all, I've been a salesperson since I was 12. I live in Israel in Tel Aviv, and I'm now married for the second time. So I managed to sell myself twice to two women, and with three kids now, and I love sales, I love marketing, and all the time I combine both academic experience and both practical experience and business experience. So when I was in the academy, I was one of the only professors who actually had the experience in the field, of sales and marketing. And when I'm in among business person, I am the only one with PhD, So so it's a combination. But actually, yeah, when I was for a short time a lawyer, I also teach lawyers now and also work with law firms and with judges all over the world. So yeah, so I saw many situations when you have an argument and someone who has at the better hand, he doesn't know how to present it to a document. So all the basic practical tools you need to know. Let's say all the in situation in life they don't teach you in the formal education system. So I decided that the mission in life is to narrow the gap between what you need to do, the skills you need to do in order to succeed in life and in business, and the gap between this and what they teach you actually in kindergarten and high school and university and the army and everything, all the formal education system.
Well, that makes so much sense. And I have to be candid. You are so smart. Okay. I'm not that smart, although I've been selling for a long time. But help me understand what makes you different than somebody else who's teaching, how to sell.
Yeah, I can tell you a story because I think sales is storytelling, and I can tell you a story that once in a courthouse there was some lawyer. I knew that defended that there was a defendant that someone who hit someone, and the other lawyer that represent against this someone, they thought about he talked about how he went to someone on the street and hit him, and he showed pictures and stuff like that, and the case was obviously against this guy. And then the guy or the lawyer who defended him, he said to the judge, I will tell you the background of the story, and he started talking about emotions. And he say, he actually was defending his son because it's very rare that someone is just operating with instinct and not thinking about the actions or what he's doing and about the reactions. So what he did is he went out to the street. He saw someone hit his son. He didn't know the cause, so immediately he got angry and he hit this guy and he hurt him bad. So obviously, Judge, you have also kids, right? So you can imagine the feeling that you just want to defend your kids, something like that. So this is for me is a great example of how you attack things differently, because first of all, storytelling, tell a story. Second of all, they talk about behind the scenes, because people sometimes see the results, they don't see the lab hours, they don't see the behind the scenes, they don't see what caused this result. And thirdly, talk about feelings, talk about your feelings, and be authentic. And when you're authentic, people can relate to you. So I always, tell my clients when it can be, a startup who would like to go to investors and convince them. It can be lawyers, it can be authors who would like to publish the book and go to a literary agent and convince him. I tell them, be authentic, be the best version of yourself, tell stories about you, tell stories about failures, about success, about your achievements. Tell stories. People remember stories, because stories is actually a framework that we, when we are born, then we immediately know stories. People tell us, our parents tell us stories. So we know stories. So if you use story in the right way, with lots of emotion, lots of examples, lots of, humor, lots of, practical tools, that people can relate to it and people remember it.
It's interesting you bring that up, because one of the reasons I loved the Marvel series, where we had Iron Man and Captain America and the rest of it, and then we had them come together, was I think one of the things that made the movies were the humor parts,
Yeah.
because we were touched, or we were into the drama, but the humor connected everything and made it so great in so many ways. But I also love the fact that when you're talking about selling, so often we get tempted to make a decision or take an approach based on preliminary information. And what you brought up, because of your life experience, but also your training with your PhD and your legal degree, is to peel back the onion more and get to the core. And
Yeah.
then you can really hit that pain point. It's going to be an urgent thing that they want to resolve versus something that might just be important or might be off a bit.
Yeah.
So you can't connect with them.
Yeah,
That's very
because at
interesting.
the end of the day, we are all people. Judges are also people. Business person are people. Managers of at all ranks, there are people. So if you connect to the person, they will do everything for you. And sales and marketing, people think that you need to have the best product. And so it's good. It's very important that you have good product and good service. Yes, especially for a long-term relationship. But it's more important that you have the skills how to communicate to other people, whether it's investors, judges or managers or employees. Or customers. And I think the tip or the rule number one for sales and marketing is love people. You need to love people. I tell speakers all the time, you need to love your audience. If you love your audience, they will love you back. And salesperson, if you love clients, they will love you back, because when you deal all day with people and you don't like people, you are in a real problem. You won't it won't work for you. You told me you are 52 years in sales. It's amazing. It's amazing. I wish I will have that experience. I have 41 years to go. So obviously you love people, you love what you do, and you love people. And I
Yeah.
think this is the basic, and it's very important. You can teach people tactics of sales and marketing. It's very hard to teach them to love people, to love what they do. And if your mission in life is to help people, then they will buy from you more. And actually, storytelling, if you sell, I call it soft sale, not like hard sale. Hard sale is when I am a salesperson. I will tell you, well, David, definitely need to buy this, buy now, buy this, you need it. And then immediately you got defensive and you start saying, okay, I don't know, let me think about it. But soft sale is I'm not actually selling you anything. I'm just telling you stories and you buy it. Okay, I'm not selling you, I tell stories and you buy. Which kind of stories? Stories about the product, about the service, about other clients, about former achievements, about myself, about success, about failures. By the way, also in Iron Man and all of these Marvel movies, they talk about also they're superheroes, but they're not perfect. Each one has his
Oh, they're
own.
all broken.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're all broken. I tell my clients all the time, you need, people appreciate authenticity, especially in 2024 when we record this. So to be authentic is very important. So I'll tell my clients all the time, you need to be Batman and not Superman. Because what is the difference? Batman and Superman, they're both superheroes. and they both look like human being. But Superman is not actually a human being; he came from another planet, right? So if Superman will provide a workshop how to fly, and I will sit in the first row and I will write everything down, and I will explain exactly what to do: go to the highest tower, go to the roof, check the wind, mind your first step, and I will do exactly what he says. I'm still going to fall because I don't have his skill because he came from another planet. But Batman can deliver a workshop how to fly, and I will sit in the first row and write everything, and I will say, Yaniv, I'm just like you. I even have a worse life because the Joker murdered my parents when I was young, and I fell into a cave, and I was afraid of bats and darkness. And then I taught myself how to fly. And let me teach you. I will teach you what I learned. And then I will learn, and then I can relate to him, because we are alike, because he's not perfect, because he's also a human being, and he's not flawless. So he told me about his failures as well, so I can connect to him.
And I love what you say about be loving. So one
Yeah.
of the teachings I've learned in the last few years is just, two major emotions. There's love and there's fear. And I was reading something the other day, which I wrote down. It was like, be firm in your faith, be men of courage, be strong, do everything in love.
Yeah.
And I think that when you sincerely care about the other, one of the best sales guy ever was a tech guy. And this was back in like 2000. Okay. And I still remember to this day, I don't even remember what we were exactly talking about, but he was my tech guy. He was my outsourced IT. And I said, I think I should buy this. And he said, no, you really don't need that. And the fact that he cared enough to tell me not to buy something made me believe in him all the way.
I
Now, you
agree.
have a
I agree.
saying where you say, don't sell your customers, make them buy.
Yeah.
How does that relate to this love thing you're talking
Yeah.
about and
Yeah.
being personal?
Yeah, because people, first of all, they buy your personality, before they buy products and services from you, especially if you are the product, if you're a speaker, a lawyer, a service provider, we have lots of listeners who are service providers. So you are the brand, you are the product. So they buy your personality. But even if you sell products, not just services, then people buy from you before they buy the product. And usually people don't, they're not professionals, they don't know if you're a good lawyer or not, or if this product is good or not, or if this software is good or not. So they buy from you. So you need to get, to have personal attention, and you need to make them like you and to make them trust you. We can talk more about how I can make people like and trust you. And it's very important to be authentic. If there is failures or in your background, or the product is not perfect, then talk about it. Okay, we talked about Batman and Superman. There is a line of lectures. I don't know if you know it, in high-tech companies. It's called fuck up nights. What is fuck up nights? Is entrepreneurs talking to other entrepreneurs about the failures. So, and people love to hear it. People go to lectures, late at night, buy beer and listen to fuck up stories, And usually the twist is usually that it's a failure, success. For example, it's my first company. I lost $100 million of investors. My second company, I closed it and got divorced. And my third company is PayPal, something like that. So it's failure, success. Usually you won't hear stories like my first company, I lost $100 million of investors. My second company, I got divorced, and now I am broke and I'm homeless and I live with my parents or something like that. So, but people enjoy the stories. They feel relate to you. So what you described is authenticity, and also to be honest. So by the way, if I will tell you you don't need this product, so immediately I gain your trust, right? And then I can say what you need is this product, and maybe it can be more expensive product, but it doesn't matter because you already trust me. So you say, okay, this guy is an expert, so I'm going to do whatever he says because I trust him, because he
Yeah.
cares for me.
And particularly if you say you don't need this product, 6 months from now, you need this. If you do a
Yeah.
quick shift, then but the fact is, he didn't actually have another product for me at that moment. He's just like, you can do okay for now,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that was,
We are
yeah,
do-
that
we're
was
talking
something.
about, yeah, we're talking about long-term relationships. So maybe I won't sell it
Yeah.
to you now, but you will come on your own 6 months from now. Or maybe I won't sell you now, but I will follow up and I will ask you every few months, hi David, how are you? Are you comfortable with now buying the product, or is it relevant for you now? Or we talked about the fact that you would like to do this and that. Did you already do it or something like that? And then you didn't buy now, but we started a relationship, and then 6 months from now, 12 months from now, you will come back and you will buy, and you will buy even in higher prices.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now, one of the things you also mention is your expertise is helping to your clients to get more people talking about them. What
Yeah.
are some of the key tips you give or advice you give there? And maybe you got a story where somebody,
Yeah.
nobody was talking
So
about him or her, and then all of a sudden, woo, big time.
yeah, so first of all, it's viral marketing. Viral marketing is making people talk about you in a positive way. I have many stories. I can tell you the three reasons I studied this viral marketing for 20 years now. So there are three reasons why people will quote you, will talk about you. First of all, if you taught them something, if you provide them practical tip. If, for example, I sell TVs and then I will share with you an information, let's say a video on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever, and I will say those are the three secrets you need to know if you buy a new TV. Okay. So if it's not relevant for you, okay, but if it's relevant for you and you listen to it, then you can also forward it to other friends that you know that also buy TV. And and sometimes usually people, when they do something, they know other people who do the same thing. So if I buy TV, probably I consulted with my friends or something like that, so I can share the video. So this will become viral because I share with you some information, some tips that you can implement in your daily life. I can share information about no matter what parenting, about relationships, about how to buy TV, how to raise vegetables in your garden, whatever. So this is topic number one. Topic number two: people talk about you if you tell them stories. If they tell the stories, then they can connect to the story, they will share the story with others. So we mentioned about, for example, I'm an entrepreneur. I told you a failure story. When I started, I did this and that, and then I learned from it and I did something else. You are also entrepreneur, you know other entrepreneurs. So you say, you know what, I just heard a podcast with this guy, he talked about this and that. Tomorrow we have a meeting. Let's try not to do it. And then people are talking about you. Now, the great thing about viral marketing is I didn't ask people to talk about me. They don't get the commission, they're not salesperson, but they're actually great ambassadors for me because they want to, not because I told them to. And the number three is talking about actual events, the things that happened. For example, William and Kate broke up in England, or Donald Trump won the elections, or there is a war somewhere, or there is the summer, or there are the holidays soon, or something like that. And then if I get a unique perspective, for example, I teach sales and marketing, and now the holidays are coming, so then I can write an article or send a newsletter or post a video, how to sell to clients during the holiday. Or is it relevant to send to people to send your email during Thanksgiving or something like that? Okay, so Thanksgiving is coming, and obviously everyone is talking about the holiday. So now I provide a unique perspective about this holiday. You asked me before, how am I different? In this kind of way, I teach people that I am different. They will talk more about me because I already talk about it the Thanksgiving. So they will tell friends, I just heard someone who talked about the Thanksgiving. He said, don't send the email in the same day, maybe the day after, day before, something like that. And then it becomes viral.
And in building on that, you also talk about building a community around you.
Yeah.
How do you start that community? How do you manage that community? What value, this is a key thing. What value do you give to that community so they continue to really trust you, but then they're also almost instinctively, talking about you when the time's appropriate, when one of their peers has a need or something.
Yeah, first of all, building a community or building a tribe is very, very important for business because if you're a successful business, that means you have a good and great community that comes back again and again and talk about you. Because I can hire, salesperson that can go all over the place and talk about how Dr. Yaniv Zaid is great, but I can have customers who will say how great I am, and they will be great ambassadors for me, and they will also sound objective, not subjective, and I don't need to pay them. Okay, so community is very, very important for the business. And you start to build a community by identifying who do you like to be in your community, who is your ideal client, who do you reach. Okay, and the ideal client for me is a combination of two tests: the fun test and the money test. The fun test is who will I enjoy working with. If I'm a consultant, I would like to consult to certain companies, not to everyone. If you try to sell to everyone, at the end you don't sell to no one. You sell to no one. So first of all, you need to identify the ideal client, combination between fun test and money test. So I need people that I will enjoy working with and that they can afford me, that they can pay the money I would like. Okay, so I need to identify many criteria: what are the age, where do they live, what do they do, what are their problems and needs, that I'm the solution, or my products and services are the solution. Now, after I managed to identify the target audience, so it's called in marketing the avatar, the ideal client to imagine this ideal client. You can have 2-3 avatars, but you need to identify. Then I start to ask the second question: where are they? Where are they, regardless of me? They don't know me yet. I didn't open the business, or I'm a small business owner. They don't know me yet. Where are they? Offline and online. Which podcasts are they listening to? Which social media are relevant for them? Which articles do they read? Where do they sit? Where do they go to hang out, or stuff like that? And then I build a marketing plan that I need to be there. I need to be there. So for example, if I would like to go to market myself to business owners, I need to be where they are. So I need to go to the conferences where they participate and do networking. And I need to go to podcasts where they listen and to be a host, or even open a podcast of my own. And I need to write articles and write content with motivation, to motivate them to act at the end. But I need to spread myself in as many platforms as possible, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, etc. And I need to collaborate with others who also work with the same audience, and they can refer to me, I can refer to them. So you need to be in many places, and a drop plus a drop plus a drop equals in the ocean at the end. So it's not like you have a magic trick that you do one thing and you have thousands of people in your mailing list. But it's hard work. But if you're accurate and you operate and you identify your direct target audience, then you can build a community and grow it very, very fast. And today, in 2024, you have many platforms to do it. Many, again, podcasts and webinars and Facebook. You started 53 years ago, 52 years ago. I started 21 years ago. We didn't have Facebook. We didn't have YouTube. We didn't have mailing list. We didn't have almost nothing. Almost all things we use today, we didn't have when we started. So today, there are much more opportunities than we had 20 years ago to market yourself and build a community.
So that leads me to something else you talk about is how to stand out from your competition.
Yeah.
So let me give you, and I don't know whether you have a specific example, but let me paint a general scenario. So I'm in a sales situation, and let's handle it stage one. So I've got a company that's interviewing me, and I sell whatever, and you can choose, whatever your example is fine, but maybe you don't have an example. But so I know I'm competing with at least 2 other companies, if not 5 other companies. And I've got to build credibility and trust with this person. And ideally an edge because out of those, say, 5 companies total, this person is only going to advance with 2 or 3. So what are the 1, 2, or 3 things that I need to do so that this person who's a warm lead, because they have a need that matches with our services or our products, but what are the 1, 2, or 3 things that I need to make certain I do so this person chooses me as one of the early on finalists to advance?
So people will more likely choose you if they like you and if they trust you. So the like part is, to have a personal chemistry with one another. And, I can be, for example, I'm 47 years old. I'm from Israel. I'm Jewish. I live in Israel, and you are in Sacramento, and you're older than me, and you are American, etc. So we have lots of differences, but I can find lots of common ground. For example, we both do sales, we both parents, we both have podcasts, etc. So I need to talk about our common ground, and to make you like me, and to provide you personal attention, and to remember things you say to me, and to repeat things you say to me, etc. If I like you and I talk to 3-4 people and I like you the most, probably I will get you the job, because we're talking about long-term relationships. So I'm going to work with you a lot. So people prefer working with people they like. And number 2 is the trust part. Now it's tricky, because if the client will talk to 3-4 people, they will all say they are great. I've never heard of a supplier coming to, or vendor coming to a client and say to them, okay, I'm mediocre, but please give me a chance, or something like that. Okay. And everyone, also employees, in a job, in a hiring interview, they won't say I'm mediocre, but please give me the job. Everyone will say they are great.
It'd be like the example you were given before with the F up
Yeah,
presentation. It's
yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah,
hey,
yeah.
I'm not very good. I've made a ton of mistakes, but I'm hoping I can do it right this time. So I really would like you to give me a try.
Yeah, yeah, something like that. So everyone will say they are great. So how can the client identify between a real expert and someone just claims to be an expert? So the difference is the social proof. What is social proof? The achievements, the objective data, the objective information that I can share with you about myself. So if I will say to you, for example, that I'm very good at what I do and I can provide you lots of value, then I first of all I sound like everyone else. And then second of all, it doesn't sound objective. It sounds subjective because I'm talking about myself. So obviously, I'm going to speak highly of myself. But if I will share with you my acknowledgements, my resume, my former achievements, my former clients, list of clients, the number of years I've been doing this, testimonials of clients, some stories that provide my background, my volunteering activity or stuff like that. So each one in separate is social proof because I'm not talking about myself. I'm just showing you, objective evidence. And the reason I'm doing it with my hands, in quotation, objective evidence is because I choose what to tell you. For example, if I sell you a product, I will tell you this product is being sold in 40 countries in the world. Okay, so there are other 200 countries which is it's not being sold, right? But I'm focusing on the 40 that is sold. Or I will say, well, I worked also with this and this client. So there are other clients I don't work with, but I focus on what's positive. Or if I show you testimonials, I would show you the most satisfied clients I have, right? Maybe I have other clients who are not that satisfied, but I will show you the real people, right? I don't invent it, but they are the most satisfied clients. So I choose I call it a marketing ammunition, social proofs. So I will choose the relevant stories, the relevant information to tell you, and then you can trust me, even though we didn't work together. So the way for me to get a relative advantage over the two free competitors. By the way, I don't call it competitors, call it colleagues, because I think we need to look at it in a creative way, not a competitive way. So I never talk about competitors, even if the client will say, okay, Yaniv, I met Yaniv and I also met David and I don't know and Brian. What can you tell me about them? Or they already gave me an offer cheaper than you. I never say something like, oh, no, David, no, come on, come on. You don't know what to work with him, something like that. Never. And I won't compare myself to you, to any other person. I would just say, I don't want to talk about them. Or even if I know you and I think you are great, I will say, David is great. If you want David, go with David. If you'd like me to talk about myself, let me share a little stories about myself. So and that way you feel secured about yourself and about your value. So never talk about competitors, just focus about yourself and focus to be the best version of yourself. But again, if you'd like to create a relative advantage over your colleagues, then you need people to like you. So find the common ground and then talk about it. And second of all, you need people to trust you. And then even though they didn't buy from you yet, and then you need to use social proof. And in my book, The 24-Second Sales Bubble, and also in my lectures, I give lots of examples how to do it in many situations in life, in marketing, sales, in courthouse, in other places.
Talk to me about your book now, because it's relatively new book out, so it's kind of the latest and greatest. I think there was a who was the guy, Jeffrey something, that wrote a sales Bible
Yeah,
decade or two ago
yeah,
or
it's
something like that.
something like 40 years ago. I wrote the 21st Century Sales Bible.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
10 commandments, 10 chapters with lots of sub chapters, how to, again, increase your income and build a brand and build your community. And this book is relatively new, but it already is published. It was translated to 12 languages so far, including the three superpowers, United States, Russia, and China. So the same
Wow,
book
that's
is
huge.
relevant for, yeah. So you do a little adaptation, in the content, but again, the fact for me, this is my biggest achievement, the fact that the same book was translated so far to 12 languages and probably more soon, but including India and China and Russia and United States and Vietnam and other countries. And it shows that the principles are universal. It's because we're talking about the subconscious level. I'm uploaded it to the conscious level, but subconscious level, our brain work the same in all mentality, in different mentalities, but we're all the same. We're all people, Americans, Vietnamese, Chinese, Israelis. So the principles are the same principles. At the end, we all
But
would
but
like
if we're
people to love us.
but if we're all the same and the principles are the same principles, then why can't we all get along?
Oh, good question. Yeah, good question. Because we have ego, and because men run the world, and because
Yeah.
yeah, and because you have maybe a different interest, and because not everyone, not everyone would like to do the self development, and to become better persons. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And everybody's got wounds, and they're
yeah,
different wounds.
yeah,
And it's not just men ruling the world. I mean, go back in history, but Jezebel, and there's been some queens out there too that haven't
yeah.
been the best. So,
Yeah.
but
But the most successful people I know and the most successful business person and politicians know are a great person. They love people, people love them.
yeah.
They can create a great communication with you.
Oh yeah.
They really care about you. I don't think you can last in business 40 years if you don't care about people. You certainly can sell people for many years if you don't like your clients. And again, we're talking about long-term relationships. So your products and services should be great, but the marketing should be great as well. Harry
Yeah.
Potter, for example, it's a great story, but there are many stories. I come from the book industry, so you have many books each year that it is good as at least as good as Harry Potter. But Harry Potter is a combination of a great book, by the way, which addresses many target audiences, adults and young people, but it also had great marketing, great campaigns. They did great campaigns to each book. So you need to have the combination between being a great guy, for example, and also know to market yourself, or great product and service, but also the company knows how to do campaign well.
Yeah. I remember in Jim Collins's book, Good to Great, there was one common trait in each of those 11 or 14 companies that actually were great. You remember what that was?
The things that you need to be great
The,
in.
the one trait that was
Yeah.
shared by all 11 or 14 CEOs of the companies that made it to be great, the one
Okay.
trait that they had in common was humility,
Humanity. Yeah.
which
Yeah.
validates, what you're saying is that the CEOs you've known are great people who care about people. Goes back again to your saying, if you sincerely love people and you serve them and connect with them, and sometimes you're not a connection, and then you connect them with someone else. Um, Very powerful sales technique. So,
Yeah, and
I
also
love,
and also
yeah,
again, we talked about be authentic, and I believe that every expert is also a student, and I can tell about myself that people pay me a lot of money for my consulting, but also I pay a lot of money for other mentors and consultants, and whatever I think I need to improve something in my life, private life or personal or business life, I do it. I spend my time, money, and energy to become a better person, a better parent, a better spouse, a better salesperson. And I all the time I also listen to podcasts, and I go to lectures and workshops, and when I appeared in conferences, I always stay to hear the next speakers, and I try to develop myself all the time. So this is the key, to be curious all of your life and don't think that you know everything. And also to be relevant in business for 20, 30, 40 years, you need to be also innovative, to update yourself all the time. And you
yeah,
can't do it
no,
if you're not humble and you think you know everything.
yeah, no, that's great. So, people need to check out your book. Where can they learn more about what you're doing and find the book? I
Yeah,
noticed on
so
Amazon it's 4.7 out of 5. I mean, that's a
yeah, yeah,
great rating, and you had a lot of raters, and there were a lot of people, so that's great.
yeah. Thank you very mumuch. So the 21st Century Sales Bible, you can find it on Amazon and also in bookstores in North America, Canada, and United States. And also check my website, drpersuasion.com. It's www at drpersuasion.com. You can find many articles. If you enjoy our conversation, then you find many free articles there. You can also check my YouTube. It's Yaniv Zaid, Yaniv Zaid. Yaniv Zaid on YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, Facebook. You can find many videos and articles that will improve increase your income, improve your marketing abilities, sales abilities, public speaking abilities. And I will also give you my private email, so you can send me an email if you have questions. It's Yaniv at yanivzaid.com, Yaniv at yaniv.com. So please feel free to ask me anything you want, and I will answer any question you may have.
Oh, it's wonderful. Very kind of you. Thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate your
Thank
insights.
you
I'm
very
sure
much,
it's
David.
helpful.
It's the beginning of a beautiful friendship. I enjoyed very much, and I highly recommend people to listen to all of your chapters because you have a great podcast. Thank you very much.